about a half hour. So uh, I opened all these bottles just about 20 minutes before we started. I did take the Big John, the last one we're gonna do, and I put that guy into a decanter. I think as we get to the H series, I'll tell you a little bit more about them, but they have a little bit more new oak, a little bit longer cork. So they are a wine that we're making to age a little bit longer. So I find that this stage, they definitely a little bit of air kind of helps them out. So yeah, 2015 Primitivo, super great stuff. We've got the, we do have a really great website here, the Coyote Canyon Winery .com. We're offering shipping specials. We did these Denver packages. We're always trying to do something fun and interesting. And like Mike was saying, we grow 26 different varietals. We make about 20 different wines. We've got a really nice selection if you're looking for other things. So we're going to move on here now to Tempranillo. And Tempranillo, another just magical grape that grows up at our vineyard, and a Spanish grape. And so this one has a really neat storyline as well, and kind of how it's expanded and moved into our portfolio. We make a Tempranillo, and we make a wine in our HH series that we call Michael Andrews, after Mike. And it's a blend of Tempranillo and a grape called Graciano, and really, really great wine. And so typically that's where all of our Tempranillo goes, but some years we have a little bit extra. We do a little bit of Tempranillo on its own. I think it's kind of interesting if you haven't tried a lot of our wines. I think that all of our wines in general are pretty full and just like rich, great color, great structure. But on that scale, I really like the Tempranillo again because it's a little bit lighter compared to some of our other wines. It's not a huge tannic wine, so it's built a little bit more on acidity. So from a winemaking perspective, going into making this wine and trying to do picking decisions and blending decisions, I know that I'm not getting the same, like tannin, I think really helps a wine finish. So it really gives you that length, the velvety, the chocolatey notes, and kind of this gravelly, like more texture and feel on a finish. So when you're working with varietals that don't have as much tannin, a little more acidity, it's going to impact the way that you do, the mouthfeel of that wine. So looking at barrel selection, I think becomes a little bit more important. So trying to find barrels that pair up nice with it, because we get a lot of tannin from a new oak barrel. So if I'm taking some of the Tempranillo, I've enjoyed using new American oak at a small percentage. And American oak is what I call pretty aggressive. So I'm almost looking for a little bit more of that aggressive impact, because I want to build some tannin into it while still preserving kind of the typicity of the varietal, which is this little bit brighter, nice acidity, good cleansing palate. On it, we have been blending a little bit of the Graciano into it, and that's another the varietal that has a lot more of the tannin. So this vintage, I believe, is 15% Graciano and 85% Tempranillo. So it's definitely Tempranillo is the backbone and the blood of this wine, but that little bit of the Graciano grape, I think, kind of helps melt it together and give us a longer, more complex and interesting finish.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it smells really nice, huh? It's got nice, yeah.
Tempranillo is one of Justin's favorite. That's we're always going over, well, we got to have more Tempranillo, and I'm like, well, we need to stick to the Michael Andrews, of course. But because they kind of compete for each other. But they're both great wines. Yeah, this has got some other nice scores too.
What do you think, Darcy? How'd you like it?
No, I love it. I love almost all the wines, and I wanted to just go back to the Albarino because I just really think it's amazing. Because you get that really cool nose with all this fragrance in it and stuff. but then when you're on the palate, it's not what you expect. It's not that real sweet,
Yeah.
Chloe type of thing, but you still get the nose that is just beautiful. But no, I love it.
Bravo.
I think it's real fun too to have these different varietals in your glasses open. You know, oftentimes, you know, I know with this year of COVID, a lot of, you know, we haven't been as big groups and gatherings. So, you know, often it's just my wife and I at home. So we might open one bottle, or, I mean, we're winemakers, we're low gluttonous, so we might have 2 or 3 open because we like to compare things. But one of the fun things about doing a tasting like this is tasting the Primitivo and the Tempranillo and going back and forth. And, you know, when we're done here and you guys still have your bottles to, you know, taste them tomorrow and see how they're holding up. If you opened all of them, that's 6 bottles, a lot of bottles. You know, they'll certainly hold on for a few days longer in your fridge, but I think it's really neat to get that difference, you know, on that side by side, that immediate, ooh, what are the aromatic differences in these varietals, as opposed to, I drank that Tempranillo last week, how does it compare to this week's Primitivo? Kind of gives you a different appreciation. And then, you know, these are all Coyote wines, so maybe there's like a thread of similarity in some of them, but they're all different and unique. We got multiple different vintages that we're tasting now, right? Both of these were from the 15, the Primitivo and Tempranillo, that hot year. We're going to do our 16 Malbec and the 17 Big John. So there's a lot of little things going into this that, you know, impact how all of these wines are drinking and tasting right now at this moment. But yeah, that Tempranillo is good. Food pairings. Gosh. I only got printed these notes out, but I did print some out. I don't know. I guess we'll need to do a food pairings with my Tempranillo next time. I got some better ideas.
Yeah, they always go good, like with, to me, something spicy, you know, like your tacos or spicy tacos.
Yeah.
Would go good with that. So does your Primitivo. Both of those would go good with that.
Yeah.
And also does well, you know, everything goes good, it seems like, with good old beef steaks.
But I do really like that. Again, it's not necessarily a light wine, but it's a little bit lighter on our palate. To me, it has almost like this sort of uplifting kind of finish when I'm done. It's not like a super coating, you know. I'm not like, ooh, it's a big heavy wine, but there's still a lot of like just nice flavor and complexity in it. So yeah, very happy with the way both of those turned out.
No, I was just going to say it's actually, both of them are very food friendly, where you could pair them with a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be something really like even steak, but I know Mike likes to put the cows in there, but you know, you could put it in with a really nice, a roast chicken would taste delicious with it.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Anything like that really has, because it's got a nice acidity balance to it, that'll cut through some of that fat and different things. That'll really make it. It's just, you know, like most Italian wines, and you don't just drink wine to drink wine. You drink wine to eat food, and you have to have food with it. So I think both of these varietals come through with both that kind of a really good food-friendly wine.
Okay, so now we're moving into our last year's double gold, G.W. Smith Malbec. Man, I just, you know, making all these different varietals is always very interesting because, you know, we have about a 2-month period where we're harvesting grapes. We start in September, early September, sometimes the end of August in some of these hotter years like the 2015. But generally it's, right around September through October. So it's this 2-month stage. We're slowly picking through things. And Malbec is always a grape and varietal that really stands out. It has a lot of really distinct individual characteristics. Really, really great, interesting color when it's fermenting. It's very purpley. You know, as it kind of ages out, it you know, looks a little more red. But when you come in, if you're here during a harvest period, sometimes I tell you, when you look at it, you're like, how come that wine doesn't end up more purple?
I just wanted to say that double gold means that this wine scored at least a 95 out of 100.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's really always great to, you know, to receive accolades for the work that we do. I mean, we spend, you know, Mike has poured his life into this, and you know, I've been making wine for over 20 years, and love what I do. And you know, it takes a lot of sweat equity to get these wines out. So we do take a lot of pride when you know, people appreciate what we're doing, and yeah, what's you know, I've been in and done some wine competition judging myself, and I think it's nice when you do see those double golds and stuff. Not only is it, you know, reminiscent of a high score, but it's a group of 3 to 4 different peers, you know, who have good wine drinking experience, all agreeing that this wine is a very good wine. So you know, like when we won our best of shows in the double golds and double platinums, that it really makes us feel good. We love it. It's always great to get the nice accolades. So we certainly appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
So HH Estates was our, what we used to call our farm or our ranch, Horse Heaven Hereford Ranch. And the HH that you see on this label was actually the HH that we had on our brand, on our livestock. And as we were thinking about what are we going to have for a name for our reserve wines, we decided to do the reserve wines and call them HH Estates, and we named the wines after different family members. So the G.W. Smith is actually named after my grandfather, the one that started farming in the Horse Heaven in 1941, and he actually broke, if you can imagine, 100,000 acres out of sagebrush, and most of that ground is part of the Horse Heaven Hills AVA today. Horse Heaven Hills AVA is a 570,000 acres.
Wow.
Of that, today there's only 15,000 acres planted, and we have, like we said, 1,300 acres. But what there, you know, there's about 4 things that makes grape growing unique, and it's usually, you know, it's the wind, the rain, the water, and the soil. And the Horse Heaven Hills is known for that high, you know, having wind all the time. And that helps us because of the river. It gets the flow of the wind up and down the gorge, and that spreads out across the Horse Heaven. And that helps us to, it increases a little bit of the skin toughness, which, you know, we extract all that flavor from those skins. Other things that we get from it, you know, because we're in this super arid climate. Like I said, when my grandfather broke this ground, they said it wouldn't ever be profitable. Well, because we only get 4 to 6 inches of rain a year. That's hardly enough to grow anything.
Not a lot of rain.
Not a lot of rain, but we can control all the moisture because we're using drip irrigation. And we were blessed to be able to get our water from wells. And if you look at the label on the back of the Mourvedre race, my grandfather is pictured on the back of the G.W. Smith, the Malbec, where my father's on the back of the Mourvedre. It's got a picture of the latest labels of the water, him with one of his artesian wells. And he was smart enough clear back in the 60s and I think by the early 70s to have applied for water rights enough that we can have all of the water that we need today to grow the grapes. And the Horse Heaven Hills got a moratorium on water. You can't plant anymore, so there's not, you know, right now there's maybe a little bit of an abundance of grapes, but we cannot, people can't just go in and plant up hundreds of acres because there's just no water. It's a dry area. So, and then the other things we have that unique soil, and that soil has some of that quality that gives us that ability to have these really nice silky tannins. And these silky tannins are what gives us this long finish. And if you're in an area you're going from somebody else's, maybe I don't want to criticize any other, but other AVAs, a lot of times they'll be harsh tannins. And those harsh tannins, when you taste them, the winemakers have to work. Well, the Horse Heaven Hills is kind of perfect for making soft, silky, rich tannins that that just linger in your mouth, and you don't have that harshness. And you'll find in our wines pretty much all the time that silky softness, which a lot of people like to call it the dusty tannins. But
I think right here we're tasting more of that in this Malbec as we move from that Primitivo and Tempranillo. I get a lot more of that sensation up on your front lips, that sort of tannicky zestiness, a little more body to this than the other two. Still that really earthy herbaceousness mixed in with that kind of bright fruit. I get a lot of these perfume notes coming off of the Malbec. This is, again here, it's a 2016. One of my favorite vintages. I think this wine, I didn't decant it, but this one would probably also benefit from a decanting or opening a couple of hours early just to kind of let it open up a little bit more. But yeah, it's just got that great flavor, and those tannins really show through nicely. As I mentioned a little bit earlier about the HH, that we're using a little bit more new oak into this project because these wines are wines that we're trying to make in a fashion that can age a little bit longer. So there is that going for it as well. Yeah, so you do definitely pick up on some of that oak kind of mingling with the fruit aromatically.
That's good.
Keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps getting better. Yeah. Yeah, it's drinking beautifully right now. And yeah, this one, pretty much, I think all of our HH, 10 years would be the short age of ageability, but their corks, they should last up to 20 years. And we're going to taste the Big John Cab here now, and that one maybe even a little bit longer. This interesting. Normally, I do blend a little something into our Malbec. This year, this was just 100% Malbec. Might have like 1% Cabernet in it, but basically it was just all Malbec in it. And typically, I am blending about 5%, 4 to 6% of Cab or Petit Verdot or something in there. But this year, it just seemed like the 16 just had a really nice depth and richness and complexity all on its own. So it just ended up basically 100%, which is rare for us. But fun when it turns out that way.
I want to throw in while you're pouring that, just one of the things all of you that purchased this Denver package got, you are entitled to come back to Coyote Canyon on your next purchase and get 15% off. So if you come back and buy another order, you're welcome. You'll just remind them that they should have gave you a promo code, but you should get 15% off your next purchase. So we encourage you to do that, of course. And this has been a lot of fun. We're keeping this up on
YouTube.
Chris is going to put this on YouTube, and this will be up for the rest of the month, or he'll be probably permanently. But we're going to keep the wine package up. So you could even come back and buy another wine package, and you could buy it for 15% off. So yeah.
Cool stuff. Okay, so hopefully you guys all, I know not everybody's got different packages, but Big John Cabernet, this is one of our favorites. Obviously, Cabernet is very popular for a lot of reasons. It just makes amazing wine. Definitely the most planted red grape varietal here in Washington, in the Horse Heaven Hills AVA, and at our Coyote Canyon Vineyard. Cabernet is the most highly planted. So we love it. It is named after, if you guys got that bottle, you can see the bull on the back. That was the bull that it was named after, Big John. He's got a great story. We are doing some really fun, exciting things with our Cabernet. It's always a major focus of what we're doing. But we are just really excited about the direction that we're going with Cabernet right now. Mike was mentioning that he first started planting this vineyard in 1994. As a winery, we didn't actually start using the grapes and making our own wine to about a decade later. So we have been working with a lot of different blocks within the Coyote Canyon Vineyard. And these past couple of years, we've expanded that. So we've historically been working with 2 blocks of our Cabernet Sauvignon, some planted in 2003 and another block planted in 2006. And now we want to take the next level. So we're working with some plantings from the original block of 1994. We're taking a couple of tons from a block planted in 1998. We continue to love our 2003 block. We've got the 06. This year we played around with some plantings from 2016 and 2007. So yeah, we just have an amazing array of cabs. It's been really fun to make all these different aged vines from the site that are sitting at different elevations, have slightly different subsoils. We've done a couple of clone trials. So yeah, we're always looking to make the best wines we can. We definitely have, you know, a pattern and a thing that we like to do, but we also love to do experiments and trial things. So we're doing that pretty hardcore right now. 2017 is super special. We actually haven't released this wine yet, so it was just released as part of this Denver package. For right now, it'll probably be going into a wine club shipment here shortly. So you guys, we're all tasting something special. I think this is we were talking a little bit about ageability. I think with our reserve cab is kind of now or even another year is when we like to release this wine. So we think it's already showing nice. You know, we're making wines in a hot region, so we've got a lot of great fruit from vintage to vintage. So these wines show really nice out of the box, but really we think they're even better after they get that 4, 5, 6 years of ageability, and you're adding this fruit and age complexity going on with them.
I wanted to tell them about Big John. I know you.
Yeah, tell them about Big John.
So in the year I graduated from college was in 1973, and that when I got home that year, the Hereford Association was coming around the United States actually trying to pick the very best Hereford bulls they could for this herd bull sale they were going to have at John Esquaga's Golden Nugget in Reno, Nevada. And the bull you see pictured on the back was still nursing on his mom when they started watching him, and they picked him to be in the sale in 1974, and he actually topped the sale and sold for $23,000,
Wow.
which, if you could imagine, that would be like over $250,000 today. You know, when I got out of school, I thought this cattle business is going to be awesome, but again, we went into the early 80s, and there was just energy crunch, all the stuff that could go wrong, and also, you know, the cattle breed, Herefords were the most popular back then. And what happened is because they were so popular, crossbreeds started taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And because Herefords were so many, people started using more Angus. And then the Angus kind of got ahead of the Hereford, and they've just never really caught up. But yeah, it was definitely an adventure, and I loved it. I would never have thought that I would have went from cattleman to wine grape grower, but now today I forgot about it, other than the stories on the back of the bottles. And
Wow.
it's good memories, and it's a lot of fun to be able to share those memories with our friends like today. Should we go on?
Okay, so we're running up to about an hour now. I know we've covered a lot of ground. Does anybody have any other questions or anything in particular you guys feel about any of the wines while you've got us both here?
Any specific questions about any of the wines we've tasted? You want to ask any questions about our farming practices? We try to do as much and as sustainable as we can. One of the things about our vineyard, and it's always been our philosophy, is timing. We try to do everything on time. And because with my kids today on the farm, my oldest son has taken over, and he pretty much runs it. And my younger son went to school. My older son went to school to be an attorney and came back to the farm. So he has that experience for contracts, and but he actually he's just very he's just a very good person as far as coordinating activities and making sure things get done on time. But it was always our thing. Our philosophy is if you do it on time, that's how you're going to have the best wines, and it starts in the vineyard. And so everything we do, we don't do anything that isn't what we grow in our own vineyard. And then my youngest son, he is a computer tech. He went to school to be in cybersecurity and has come home and he does all the office computers, runs all the programs, basically, and develops new programs. And he used to be helping a couple of other farms as they're adapting programs to help them manage their vineyards. So I'm pretty blessed to have a lot of talented people working throughout our vineyard and making not only our winemaker, as you can see, is very talented, all the staff we have on the farm. And a lot of the employees on the farm have been with me for 40 years. So we're getting old, but we still love what we do.
Well,
Wine Club. Let me just say about Wine Club too. So this G.W. Smith 2016 was one of our wines that just came out in our wine club back in October. We have 2 pickups a year, and there's 6 wines in each one. We have a red club, a mixed club, and a white club. And we are able to develop, because we have so many, you don't just get cab every time. We're able to mix it up a little bit. And believe it or not, if you looked at our tasting notes here, every wine I think we have has a couple gold medals. And Justin usually we don't just send it to every competition. We have to, because we have so many wines, we just send a few to each one so that we can try to get some recognition from different areas. And we hope that we find some people from Colorado that'll come back again. We have this special. Oh, I didn't say. What do you gain by being a wine club member besides getting the first shot at the 6 different wines a year? You get 20% off on those wines. So it's great opportunity. And of course, if you want to come visit us, we have a wine club. We couldn't this year because of COVID, but once we get back to the usual, we have little wine parties. Get enough people from Colorado, we'll come back there and we'll have a party back there with all of you.
Yeah, we offer some great benefits. We are expanding a little bit here this year. So we've got some small plates. We do tasting flights. Once we get out of COVID, we'll probably have flights and we'll also do tasting. So we've got a lot to offer. Prosser is a growing and aspiring town here. We've got some new food restaurants have opened up, and then hopefully as COVID kind of goes on the wayside here, we'll have more good food options coming into town. It's really cute. This is literally, we are in the heart of Washington wine country. We're surrounded by vineyards, hops fields, cherries. It is an agricultural paradise. It's really a unique setting up here in Eastern Washington. I said I grew up in Virginia and lived in California. A lot of people think of Washington as Seattle, as the Evergreens, as big mountains and rain and wet. Here in Eastern Washington, we are a high desert plain. We have lots of sunshine, big skies, just a really, really beautiful place. And it's still kind of off the beaten track, but there's a lot of great, for people interested in wine, there's a lot of great wines up here, a lot of fun stuff to explore along the way. We want to thank the Denver International Wine Competition for having us today. And, we've really enjoyed our partnership over the years. I know Mike has been back a few times and done the events. We wish everybody Merry Christmas, a happy holidays. We can't wait to be done with 2020 and COVID. And we love sharing our wines. We love shaking hands and giving hugs and experiencing things. The wine industry is a passion for us, and it's something that we truly enjoy being a part of. So we just appreciate your guys' support. We are a small company, the vineyard big, but we are a small family operation here, and we really do rely on individuals to keep us afloat and moving forward. And so we're just going to do our best to keep representing Washington, Coyote Canyon, the Horse Heaven Hills, and we'll have an open door here for you guys to come travel. And we just look forward to building more memories, sharing more bottles of wines around campfires, over dinners, holidays with family and friends. So thank you guys.
Cheers, and the same for me.
Cheers.
Love you guys.
Just want to say thank you, everybody. Please be safe. Merry Christmas, and we'll be posting videos a couple of days. Cheers.
Cheers. Here.
And Pat, it was finally nice to see a whole group there. It's nice to see you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Bye,
Cheers,
guys.
folks. I didn't see that camera. Hey,
Have fun. Okay, bye-bye.